It is the summer after my spleen almost ruptured into the stain of 1,000 sunsets. I'm sitting in a therapist's office and she asks me to start at the moment I wanted to die from my own hands. I could have painted her this body in all its failed topologies. I haven't a home that isn't in love with its flood water, but instead, I decide to give a history lesson. 1967, the West Bank is annexed by Israel after Nakba, catastrophe, my grandparents, exiles in their own home. When I say anxiety stretches continents, when I say depression is an ocean we never wanted to traverse, fast forward. 1988, my aunt falls in love with a woman twice her age, finds mother in her while her own grieved a stolen country, decades of abuse from a husband with fists for blood. When my aunt comes out, her parents ask if she needs to see a therapist, a nice person to exorcise these devils from her. Fast forward to today. My queerness makes a growing country of my organs, and I cannot love myself. I cannot disassociate my queerness from my self-loathing, and I'm beginning to think this is inherited. Or perhaps it was all a lesson in topology. A professor who fails me tells a class of exact sequences how topological spaces inherit the shape of their emptiness from previous generations of dimensions, an entire lineage of singularities. And at that point, I too wanted to disappear in this office of this therapist who is perhaps a topologist who asks, so what shape does this anxiety take inside you? And I want to say tooth of a mouth, eye of a hurricane raging in my chest, organ with vast chambers haunted by their own empty and so much blood it can almost be mistaken for a country. A newfound inheritance, a faithlessness found at the intersection of three merciless gods. Do you pray still? Why have you stopped praying? The therapist asks, and perhaps the therapist is my mother. The one who found God at the bottom of bottles, the color of bloodied hands, the hands who prayed for a son who left her in search of home, desire swelling in him like a rupturing organ. Father, forgive me my drunk inheritance. Forgive the stairs that collapsed beneath the weight of me. Forgive the third floor window for almost swallowing me into the night's mouth. Forgive the bodies I swallowed like broken teeth, the knees I spent trying to summon God in my own mouth. Forgive my DNA strands, for they are sculptors of brief suicides. In this body, I'm trying to love the shattered window of myself, the hands, the rocks, the broken religion left behind, my inheritance, this body of vandalized cathedrals. Light me on fire, strip my God from my breath, watch as I dance amidst the flames. What's up? Wow, so like the second I walked on stage, I had the need to pee, but also being very thirsty at the same time. I'm like, banter, that's like, funny because depressing poems, So we're gonna go right into the next one. Counterterrorism with auto-translate. A history. The first intifada was a rain of teeth. Israeli intelligence marveled at the beast they've created and became a celebration of bullets. This Mideast Frankenstein, this rebirth, fangs bare and dripping. I once found home in the empty between clenched jawlines. And that was the street where my mother grew up, where a sand N-word flew out of the mouth of a stranger who was settler in this country. Translation, what does the immigrant call it when they have no home to go back to? Once, a language failed me and I had no home to claim in my own throat. In Arabic, the word for tonsil translates to daughter of the ears. We are taught that to have a body is to carry its lineage inside of us. And I've tried to make a language where my body was just my body, my blood, just my blood, but my tongue spat it out. Rejected it like a mouthful of Arabic. Maybe it was defense mechanism. Maybe it's the only way I know how to cough up blood. Translation, the only way I know how to cough up history. Once, I wrote down history and it wasn't a lie. I didn't create massacre and the erasure, and a white woman called me crazy. He's just crazy, and I became crazy of rising smoke, crazy of gritted teeth, exhaust from the torch city of me. Translation, are you beside yourself yet? Translation, am I security threat enough for this building yet? In truth, I was never taught Arabic growing up. Translation, my father never wanted my throat to become threat. I don't watch the news anymore. Translation, I'm worried my people might be on it. It is, as they say, tomorrow's history. Translation, hence always written by the victors. I mean to say it repeats itself. Translation, I've come to expect an obvious outcome, a learned helplessness. I saw a girl die on Facebook the other day and the video autoplayed. Translation, how do we mourn without a language to name our dead? The video repeated and repeated and repeated and translation, I am always translating. A history. Israeli settler expansion was illegal under international law. Translation, until it wasn't. Translation, that's not the point. The settlers were fleeing religious persecution, much like pilgrim settlers fled here for America. Translation, what is colonization if not an aftermath of hands, of men searching for a home? And I am the wrong landmass to beg a home of. Just barely a floating thing. Stone who refused to dance on water. The oppressor knows not your howl. The way you splice the air, and that is freedom song video footage. Israeli soldier shoots child point blank. 10 minutes later, the child's cousin, exile with the sun in her hair, comes, punches the soldier in the face, takes history into her own hands. I still don't know what to do with my hands in history class. Thank you all. I get a really good energy from this crowd. And I am like, I did two very like I'm screaming at you poetry, in your face right now. And I'm gonna change the energy up, like, not a little bit, like a lot. So this is a room predominantly of poets, I imagine. So like, do you all know what an Ars Poetica is? Like, most people, okay. Like, for those of you who don't know, an Ars Poetica is a poem which formally, like, somehow comments on the craft of poetry. This is a form I invented, which is, I'd like to imagine, is the Ars Poetica's evil twin, and I'll leave it at that. Yikes, Poetica. I want you to choke me. I said this to my doppelganger recently, only he was the version of myself still in denial about balding. We met at a Starbucks because, yes, I'd like some coffee with my cream and sugar. Grubhub keeps emailing me asking me if I want falafel today, and I, for one, feel exposed. Says a person with a poetry quote of a white man saying, "See me," tattooed on his arm. My friend tells me that same poet likes flirting with boys decades younger than him, and now all I want to do is cover up his words with a cathedral. After complimenting my back tattoo, the man in the locker room shower asked if I played music. I said, it's not the kind of music you'd expect. It's like Fall Out Boy's Thanks for the Memories, only instead of memories, subtweets. Fadi says, I'm happy for you if you're happy for you. And now his name is Regina George. It's summer out, and I think I like someone. Keep in mind, if I let this poem become an obad, that means I failed you. I'm all at once a well-specified distance away from everyone I love, and that distance is measured in song. This means springtime is my saddest music. If my right arm is to be a river and my left a sea, then it follows that there is a country between my arms. It's just not the country you'd expect. Is there a word for, I want to carry a child, but my body cannot afford it in this language? There's a daddy at the center of this, and yet this poem has fathered nothing. All the white suburban moms at this reading have already canceled me. This means all the white suburban moms everywhere watching this video have canceled me. This means half of the literary world has canceled me. I'm not asking you to make room for me in your language. I'm just saying I want you to synonym me aggressive. I'm sorry if you were expecting this poem to be in English. I wrote this in sorta English and now I'm his doppelganger. I wrote this in sorta English and now it's a takeover. I wrote this underwater to say, choke me. Every time we kiss, I triangulate the distance between me and you and the ocean. It's not the kind of ocean you'd expect. I mean, I think this poem is a drunk tweet gone wrong. song. I wrote this in an airport to say, choke me. The poem is hemorrhaging now. Like it's a promise worth breaking. I'll fawn like I Persephone'd. I'll go to hell like I deserve it. I'll daddy issue oblivion. I'll you myself before the damning silly human. Your English has always verbed us into gendered things. Your pronouns have always been a thing done to us. Once, a man trespassed in me, and I want him fire-anted to death. I want to resurrect him from oblivion a second time, just to curse him to another loveless eternity, just to prove we can both get away with murder. If you're reading this, I promise I cried in the airport for you. Believe me when I say, I love the way the light holds me, stronger than any lover. That's a note on the form. That's a form that, the other thing of the form is that I add in a new line to that poem every audience I read it for, and that, like, a new line that's intended to be shade for the situation. So, right, yikes politicas, y'all? I have like 2 poems left for y'all. Thank you all so much for having me. It's from like all of those were from my book, but then now I get to read it from like my book. Like what? This is wild. Thank you to Button. Thank you everyone. So many people in this room made this book happen. It's coming in April. It hasn't even happened yet, but it's like happening in my hands. Thank you all. The ghosts of the Dead Sea rewrite the history of drowning. Sink, the bodies sink, unholy, sink into their own sink, home, sink, the bodies sink, I lift, sink, Zion, sink, expense, sink in skin, sink in bone, sink, coarse and sink, crystalline, sink in wound, sink, I swallow, sink or inhabit, sink, hot earth, sink, welling, sink into me, sink, converging, sink, topography, sink, of shattered, sink, silt, sink, I betrayed my sink, self, sink, country, sink, not my, sink, entirety, sink, or maybe, sink, I'm written, sink into betrayal, sink or death, sink, its own sink, earth, salt, sink, holy, sink, the salinity, sink of avulsion, sink, wound, sink, holy, sink, escape, sink of fluid, sink, entombed, sin in its own sin, ghost, sin, town, sin, say Khalil, sink, I'm sorry, sin, say Gaza, sink, I failed, sin, I am sin, ocean, sin, I could not, sin, swallow, sin, your mirror, sin, horizon, sin, I am sin, everything, sin, you are sin, not sin, the holy, sin, perhaps sin is in sin, the sin, blood, sin, you name, sin, parallel, sin, or maybe sin, the name, sin is a story, sin, written in sin, blood, sin, in flesh, sin, which is sin, its own, sin, scatter, sin, diffusion, sing, say we were sing, never sing, light, sing, worthy, sing, praise, sing, your birthright, sing, sunset, sing, passing, sing, reflection, sing, onto body, sing, not my, sing, entirety, sing, say, sing, we were never, sing, light, sing, worthy, sing, sunset, sing, passing, sing, reflection, sing, onto body, sing, not mine, sing, entirety, sing, praise, sing, that boy, sing, who wandered, sing, into me, sing, searching, sing, for God, sing, to build, sing, from lifeless, sing, holy, sing, the dead, sing, who walk, sing in me, sing and become, sing, story, sing, strange fiction, sing, biblical, sing, save for, sing, salvation, sing, risen, sing, rise, sing, risen, sing, rise, martyr, sing, levitate, sing, human, stay, sing, human, sing, free, sing, fly, sing, levitate, sing, fly, sing, by means, sing, of ghosts, sing, fluid, sing, refusing, sing, its own, sing, wait, sing. An ode. An ode to fighting over the check with my frickin' Arabs. And blessed are the bamboozled, for they have inherited brief nourishment, yes, at my expense. Come, side-eye, hand-slap, the Allah of Tata's prayers, even though she too was a leave a 20 in the car so you have to accept it type. Because what parts of us weren't inherited from a light of understandable distance? The Arila's smoke unraveling and violet dusk trailing to a landscape not smoldering. How else to say alive than to inhale ash into our lungs, nights that leave us fang bare and golden may mistake this laughter for anger. I get it. We aren't digestible alive outside of metaphor. Once, I wrote a self-portrait as a snake, and it was a happy poem, despite the politician who damned us to that venom. In truth, this was my brother's face after I beat him to the waiter and paid for both of our dinners. Yes, that was me, frowning, shaking my head after Summer beat me once simply because she was closer to the chip reader. And Noor, who leaned his whole body out of the car to slap Hazem's credit card from the parking lot terminal. We've been here before. Offering the brief inconvenience of ourselves because we don't know when, let alone if, there will be a next time, because we know apocalypse. Well, we know the sound of the belching sun as it swallows us whole. Noor says God is written into every corner of the Arabic language, however subconscious, so it follows every time that there are two or more of us gathered, it must be an act of divinity. We cannot give each other a tomorrow. The sun won't swallow us, and so we make it. Inescapable as the no, unspoken into our mother's every insha'Allahs. Say, this is how we pray without ever making a sound. Thank you all.